I think we can all agree that this chapter proved once and for all that Mineta has no fucking chill. He just walks up to Eri and pretty much tells her, see ya in 10 years. And you know what Mineta is thinking. Obviously, Eri is too young to be dealt with for someone like Mineta at this time, so he's gonna have to wait until Eri has become of age before he can defile her. Which, I mean, I guess that's okay. I mean, at least he is taking her age into account, you know, he doesn't want to handle someone that's underage. Even Mineta seems to have some kind of moral standard, you know, he doesn't want to go against the law. That's something that I can respect from Mineta, and I think even the SJWs can agree with me in this chapter that, I mean, even though he is kind of being borderline overkill in this chapter, at least he is taking that into account. He's not planning on doing anything to her until she's actually mature enough that it's possible. Anyway, let's talk about this chapter. So this chapter was very casual and very much centered around Eri, which I personally really liked. I really enjoyed reading this chapter because over the course of the overhaul arc and, well, up until now, I have really grown fond of the character of Eri. Like, I really enjoy what Horikoshi has been doing to her, and, you know, having a chapter where we see Eri being toured around UA Academy, it's something that I really found, I don't know, it just gave me a really good feeling seeing how she's being introduced to all of these people that are really nice, and, you know, they're not like the people she's been with before, like Overhaul and his people, because before she was taken back, she was kind of treated like shit, you know, she wasn't even treated as a human, as opposed to now when she's actually treated as a child, she's treated as a human being. And, you know, Togata and Deku in this chapter, they really want to make the best of the situation. They want to show Eri that there are people that are actually good people. They're not just absolute dickheads, everyone. They're really, I mean, they're people of different personalities. I mean, let's be honest, they didn't have the best start running into Monoma. For the case of Eri, wasn't really necessarily a bad thing, but she did get to experience how Monoma can treat people, so not everyone is heavenly, you know, not everyone are innocent, good people, but at the same time, he's not a cruel person, he's not evil, he's just a bit of a douchebag. You know, a lot of people dislike Monoma because of this. I don't. I think his obnoxious personality is quite interesting. It's not really a favorite character or anything, I wouldn't go that far, but I do think that sometimes when we see panels of Monoma being an absolute douchebag, an absolute obnoxious person, it really shows us that there are actually a lot of different personalities going around in the story of My Hero Academia. Not everyone is nice, not everyone is just straight up evil. There are gray areas. We do have personalities in between being good and bad. I think one of the biggest reasons why I think this chapter was also really good is because Horikoshi was able to fit so much into the story in this one chapter. We got to see, as I said, Class 1B, because we got to see Monoma, Tetsu, and all these people. And then Eri also got to see people like the Big Three. I mean, obviously she already knew the Big Three, but the fact that we got to see them in a school environment again is something that I guess we haven't really properly done yet, apart from when they were originally introduced. We did see when they were walking into the classroom, introducing themselves and whatnot, but now we kind of see how the Big Three are participating in the school festival, because Najiri is apparently gonna be taking part in some kind of contest, trying to end up becoming Miss Con, I think it was called. I guess it's some kind of beauty contest or something like that, where she was apparently competing against this other student that she's never won against apparently, but she's determined that this time she's gonna win it because it's her last time, you know, it's her last chance at winning Miss Con. And I guess she wants to graduate UA with something to show for, you know, apart from just being a great hero. She wants to have something extra. She's a woman, she wants to flex that figure, you know. Even Deku was speechless when seeing Nejire in that dress, and, you know, I don't blame him. She was looking pretty stunning. Now we also got to see Eri meet the support department, and not too much really went down in that regard. We only got to see how Hatsume was talking about Deku, about his new upgrades to his costume, the ones that he is using with shoot style, you know, if he was having any troubles with them and whatnot. But not much really happened in regards to Eri, apart from the fact that one of Hatsume's robots actually blew up. So, you know, we got to see some kind of a less safe environment in the school, which I guess could be a bad thing for Eri. I mean, they're trying to really show Eri that, you know, it's a good place and it's not really something to be scared of. So we're seeing a bit of mixed reactions from Eri probably. She's gonna be thinking, you know, okay, they're good people, but the place seems a bit all over the place. It doesn't really seem like everything is good and dandy, you know. Now, one thing I want to talk about is the Nezu moment in this chapter, the principal, because we got to see a very interesting moment when Nezu had, I guess, a flashback of when he was talking to the government or something, or the higher ups, and they didn't want him to go through with having the school festival given how frequent the villain attacks have been recently and that it might be a problem. And despite what he's told, he kind of wants the school festival to go through anyway, because he doesn't really want the school to be having a dark turn, I guess. He doesn't want the school to feel unsafe just because there's been villain attacks. I mean, he wants to make sure that people are feeling safe and that they don't feel like the school should be a bad thing to be at just because the villains have UA in sight. That doesn't mean people should be afraid to be there. So having the school festival still happen is something that I guess Nezu just wants to symbolize that even with villains around the corner, we can still hold our ground. We can still make sure that we are superior. We are the better people. So the one thing that I really found interesting about this whole Nezu part is not the whole conversation he was having with these higher ups, but the interesting part is that I kind of feel, and I could be reading this wrong, remember that, but it feels like if Nezu is wrong and something goes really badly, and this doesn't necessarily have to be the case for this school festival, it could be something that's foreshadowed for a more distant future, but what if at some point in the story the higher ups are gonna feel like Nezu is misjudging the situations way too much, and that they might feel like Nezu might not be suited anymore to be in charge of being the principal. They may want to replace him as the principal in the UE Academy. And now, like I said, I don't really think that this school festival is going to be the cause of that specifically. I think if that's going to happen, it's going to have to be something a lot more grave and a lot more severe than just having Gentle and La Brava infiltrate, because as far as I'm concerned, La Brava and Gentle, if they do infiltrate, it's not really gonna be to attack people. They're gonna wanna infiltrate to get fame, and that's about it. They want to make sure that they are seen, that they are becoming more known by the public, I guess. I mean, obviously on the internet they're still kind of known, but infiltrating the UA Academy is definitely bound to give them that extra boost in popularity and in internet fame as they want. I just personally don't feel like something like that would put Nezu down to the point where he's replaced as the principal, if it even happens at all. It might not, because Nezu, he's a really good character. Like, he's a good principal. He knows what's right, especially since he did want to go through with the school festival, because if they don't, it's gonna feel like something's off, and the public might feel like maybe the UA Academy isn't as safe of a place as it used to be, and it might not be in students' best interest to attend there anymore. Now, before I end the review, I feel like I need to talk about the whole situation with Dancing and Deku, because we saw at the final page of the chapter that Deku was fired from the Dancing squad, which, you know, it was a really hilarious moment, to be honest, because earlier on in the chapter we see how Deku's making all these mistakes, and then he just wanders off with Eri and Togata. You know, Ashido's just not having any of his shit right. She's like, you know what, we've had enough of you, Deku, you're out of the squad. So I'm not sure if he's gonna be taking part in another activity during the play, or if he's just totally just out. I feel like he can't really be completely out. I feel like Aizawa wouldn't allow that, to be honest. Like, no one should be allowed to just sit this one out unless Deku's given special treatment because of the fact that he was the one together with Togata who saved Eri, and Eri's gonna be part of the festival. So it's very possible that Deku will be allowed to be around Eri, because quite frankly, Eri trusts Deku, and if something goes wrong, you know, it's either gonna be Togata or Deku that she will find comfort with. And I don't like to admit it, but because of the fact that Togata doesn't have a quirk right now, if something were to happen, I don't think it will, but if it does, Deku is the more probable, I guess, savior of Eri. I mean, I don't really want like Gentle and La Brava to do something to Eri, and I don't think they will, to be honest. Like, I don't see how they would be interested in kidnapping a child. Like I said, they're not evil people. Taking a child hostage, it's not really the way of them, because Gentle did say that he's kind of like a gentleman, meaning he's obviously not interested in actually kidnapping people. That wouldn't be very gentleman-like when you think about it. So I feel like Eri, of all people, is kind of safe actually. If anything, it's gonna be the students of the school that are being in some kind of trouble. Not really trouble, I guess. It's more like they're gonna have to deal with the situation along with the heroes who are at the scene. But I would really like to know, and I'm pretty sure we will find out, of course, probably even in the next chapter or the chapter after that, if Deku is just going to be taking part in a different activity of the play, like maybe he will switch from the dance crew to the band. I don't really think being in the band would be reasonable, because I guess we already have all of the instruments set and they've already started practicing, you know. Maybe he'll be doing backstage things, because I guess that is possible. You may need someone to handle stuff from behind the scenes. Deku might be that guy, who knows. Give him a smaller role, especially since he is the main protagonist and he usually gets all of the focus. We even had a whole arc now of like, what, 40 chapters with Deku being at the center of it. Bakugo and Todoroki weren't even part of that arc. So to give Deku a smaller role for this play wouldn't really hurt the story in any way. But if I had to make a guess, I would say it's more probable that he's gonna be together with Togata and Eri rather than him being backstage. Now, Ashido might just be joking around and he might still be part of the whole dance crew. It might just be, you know, okay, we say this at the end of the chapter and see how people react, but in actuality, Ashido is just joking around with Deku. That's also a possibility. Now, I honestly don't think that, because, I mean, he was making mistakes earlier on in the chapter, so why have him on the team if he's not gonna learn as fast as everyone else, right? It probably wouldn't hurt being one man short on the dance team. I think they will be fine, honestly. They want to make sure Eri is in perfect condition, you know. They want to make sure that her mental state is perfect. They want to make sure nothing goes wrong within Eri's head, to make sure that her horn will go crazy again, you know. Her quirk might just flip the shit out. I think even in the chapter they did mention something about that if it happens at all, it's gonna be during the festival, because there's gonna be a lot of people, a lot of noise, you know. It's gonna be a very messy situation because people are all over the place. Eri is not used to a situation like that, apart from the fact that she's been around crazy people that she has, but now her quirk is fully awakened. It's just inactive, I guess, because she's not in a bad mood, she's not feeling stressed out, she's in a very calm state of mind, and that might be why her quirk is being so stabilized. But at the festival, that might not be the case unless they can comfort her properly, and Togata might not be enough for that, because at the end of the day, while Togata did play a huge role in her rescue, the one who was the one to save her at the end of the day was Deku. Anyway, with that said, I'm gonna end the review here, so let me know what you think down below in the comments about my review or about the chapter itself. I really enjoyed it. I love Eri as a character, and that Mineta moment, that was some solid stuff. Anyway, as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been Chaotic Plus, and remember everyone, Toga is waifu, Toga is life.